Hello, and welcome to the Parenting versus Podcast.
Podcast?
You like how we switched that around on you?
I don't.
Just trying to keep you on your toes.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now that I'm totally thrown off. We haven't had a podcast in a little bit. Like, that was just us two. Last one was...
in a hot minute.
In a hot minute. Yep, it was it was us and Ryan last time.
Yeah, we did a live stream.
Live stream on Facebook. There were no kids. There was no beer. There was tea. And there was discussion. I hope you guys enjoyed that with Lindsay's brother, Ryan.
And the night was dark and full of terrors.
Dark and full of terrors. And Ryan's cell phone light. But, yeah.
It is October. It is close
October.
To Halloween.
Yep. October is a busy month in the Dominguez household. We're just, lots of craziness happening.
No, they're not.
Yeah. So, last Saturday, the Lobos, University of New Mexico Lobos football team played the Air Force Falcons. And Luke went with me. And one of the things that Lobos fans tell each other, it's like a chant or, kind of a football kind of thing that people get excited about.
It's a motto.
Yeah. They scream at each other, "Everyone's a Lobo. Woof, woof, woof."
The Astros will do a game.
Yeah. So that's our son. But, so I said, "Everyone's a Lobo." And Luke paused for a second. I saw him thinking. The wheels were turning. And he said, "Everybody in the whole world?" And I was like, "Yes, son. Everybody in the whole world is a Lobo."
Right now, our 2-year-old is eating like a Lobo. He's got his face in his macaroni and cheese, and it's grossing me out.
Is it grossing you out?
A little bit.
Nice.
Cockroach.
I was in Chicago this last weekend for 3 days of peaceful, non-child interfering bliss. And
Fire you, stupid dog.
yeah, now I'm back. There's sirens in the background. There's kids screaming, and it's
Welcome home.
Yeah, no joke.
Welcome home.
No joke.
Although I think Chicago's,
It's like the murder capital.
it's like supposed to be more dangerous than Albuquerque.
I find that hard to believe, honestly. I mean,
Really?
I could be wrong. I feel like it has to do with like population or like per capita or like I don't know, because I felt super safe in Chicago. Super safe. I really didn't have any issues. I did eat some pizza, which was excelente. But yeah, I mean, it was a good time. Got to see my best friend from college, Tippy. She lives in Georgia, and so she met me there because she grew up in Illinois, so that was pretty sweet. Met some people from Indiana, and I swear, like, people from Indiana are like the nicest, most friendly people on the planet. Like, they are so friendly, and I don't know. I'm like, what's the big secret, Indiana? I'm like, why are you guys so friendly? Like, you're so nice all the time. So that was pretty cool. I had a blast. Taught some other generation people that are older than me how to use Snapchat, so that was exciting. I don't know what they thought. I would love to get some insight on that, because they were kind of like, what is this? How does this work? Why do you do this? And I'm like, I don't really know any of the answers to those questions. It's just fun. But yeah, I don't know. So all in all, it was like a good trip. I got to kind of just like hang out and really chill and refresh. Oh, and I went to my first Rainforest Cafe, ironically, without my kids. I also went to a candy store and had some awesome candy without my kids. So basically I did the things I would do with my kids, just without my kids. I don't know. It was just kind of a crazy, crazy time. But all in all, I felt rested. I feel good. Oh, there go the dogs. And I feel like, okay, back to business. So yeah, I did want to take a quick time to give a little shout out to Coach Financial. That's Coach with a K, Koach Financial here in Albuquerque. You can actually look them up online. It's it's either getcoached.org or getcoached.com with a K. The coach part is with a K. But check them out. They do financial assistance. They do budgeting. They do one-on-one financial consulting. It's all free. Amazing services. I just audited one of their classes and I learned a lot. So check them out. They are awesome. And you're back.
I'm back. Yeah, I had to get the kids busy, so I filled a little bucket up with water because Luke likes to do science projects, quote unquote.
He thinks Lorenzo is a scientist.
He does, and it makes me. I don't want to burst his bubble, but.
Well, someday when he goes to take your kid to work day, he's going to understand that you're maybe not a scientist.
No, not really. But I do teach science. I'm a science educator.
It's like kitchen sink science.
Yeah.
Junk science.
I guess it's not junk science.
Not junk science.
But I do teach my kids real science.
Oh, that's good news.
Even the controversial, little topics, but like global warming.
Yeah.
What?
So I have to ask you this because I didn't get a chance this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Albuquerque, the mayoral race. We are in a runoff.
We are. So if you're not from Albuquerque, you probably don't care, but we have a mayor's race that happened. We voted yesterday, and there were like 6 or 7 candidates.
8 this year. 8. Well, 7 after one dropped.
Yeah. So last night the votes came in, and one of the candidates, Penny.
It's just let it happen. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't like her getting on the table.
Well, I think, we're doing a podcast, so who cares?
True. So there's 8 candidates, and last night Tim Keller, the Democrat, won 40% of the vote. So
Won?
No, he didn't win, but he earned 40% of the vote.
You said won.
He won. He earned
One?
one.
Mm-hmm.
Not Juan. Juan.
Oh, yeah.
Juan. One. And the next one up was, what was his name?
Dan Lewis.
Dan Lewis, and our daughter's climbing. I'll be right back.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so Tim Keller and Dan Lewis are in a runoff. They tied, and it'll be interesting. I know who I'm going to vote for in that duo. So crazy, Albuquerque. I think they said this was the biggest voter turnout for a mayoral election period ever in New Mexico history. So that just gives me hope that people are actually voting. Maybe they are getting a little more active. Maybe they are actually trying to understand the issues. I don't know. But there was a huge turnout, which is encouraging.
Yeah, it was the most voter turnout that Albuquerque has ever seen. I think that I read that on
That's what I was just saying.
the New Mexico Political Report.
Mm-hmm. It was the biggest
website.
turnout ever.
So the runoff means that if any single candidate doesn't get at least 50% of the vote, they do a runoff between, I guess, the two highest. So Tim Keller was 40%, and then the other one was Dan Lewis. So they're going to have an election. But yeah, and the other big thing was in Albuquerque there was an proposed ordinance that requires employers to provide earned sick leave to their employees. That was super close, but we ended up voting against that. And I guess there's a lot to kind of... I think your phone's vibrating the table.
Oh, I was wondering what that was.
So,
Chesterfield, Missouri. Wow, that's a new zip code.
Do you want to answer it on our podcast?
No, thank you. It's probably student loans.
Yeah.
Trying to trick me.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get me this time, student loans. You're not going to get me this time. I don't know anyone in Chesterfield.
True, unless it's your brother.
Nah.
So yeah, there's that, and nothing really else crazy happening, but there's a lot happening in our nation for sure, and I don't even know how much we want to get into that tonight, but I mean, I can tell you personally how it's been taking a toll on me.
I think we should get into that because we talk a lot about current events, we talk a lot about things that happen, and we talk a lot about how we just start to process one thing and then something else, either more tragic or more earth-shattering or just more intense happens. Mm-hmm. And then that other issue that happened before gets overshadowed by something else. And I feel like the Las Vegas shooting and then the hurricane stuff in Puerto Rico, I'm still trying to process the situation in Puerto Rico. And then this happens and it's like,
no, seriously, since Donald Trump was elected, the news has been like one after another, like things just happening over and over. And I kind of wonder if there's anything that describes this situation that's going on, like if it's some type of like media overload. And like me personally, like I had to disconnect for a while, like at least try.
Yeah.
And even me trying to disconnect, I'm still picking up on a couple of like news stories that are just like overwhelming. Like, so there was Hurricane Harvey in Houston, which was crazy.
Right.
And there was like the whole thing with Joel Osteen and also people like losing everything basically, and like all the sadness that's going on there, and whatever with Joel Osteen. I just brought that up because that kind of bothered me, that situation.
Oh, me too. Me too.
And then after that there was Florida. I guess Florida wasn't a huge deal, like it was still pretty bad, but it wasn't as bad as like Houston. And then here we go with Maria, and this is happening. And then even before that was Charleston, and then every other day is something new with Donald Trump, and now, the most deadly. Oh. Penny's looking at the sky and barking.
She probably hears thunder, or we're supposed to get some serious thunderstorms in a little bit. But that's crazy. Like, I was reading today about Puerto Rico, and people are literally saying, like, come and help us. We're dying. Like, we're gonna die. I mean, they're on an island. What are they supposed to do? They can't get off. They can't get a plane out. They have no money. They have no resources. They have no power. Mm-hmm. I was reading today that people are so desperate for food, they're eating dog food. Mm-hmm. And that is, like, there is something wrong with that, America. Like, why are we not doing more? Why are we not sending these people somewhere where they can recover and recuperate while we rebuild Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
Like, why is that not happening?
I think the average American is dealing with their life and kind of wondering, like, well, where do I go? Or what do I do? What can't... Like, they probably feel a little compassion for these people, but it's not... I don't think it's enough to kind of make a move, you know what I mean? To do something. And I don't even know if... the average American knows what they would be able to do.
Well, but that in part is bad leadership. I mean, the government can tell you what you can do.
Right.
They can make suggestions. They can set up refugee housing. There's a lot they can do.
And our president, he's
an idiot.
He was saying something along the lines of like don't believe the fake news. The United States.
Well, I hate to tell you, but a hurricane is not fake news.
Right, but actually, hurricane. He's not talking about the
like,
hurricane. He's not talking about. He's not saying the hurricane is a fake news. It's the fake. What the news is reporting is that the people in Puerto Rico are struggling, and what he's saying, what Donald Trump is saying, is that no, FEMA's actually. You know what FEMA is?
Yes,
FEMA's actually there. FEMA's doing a great job. They're providing supplies for these people, and like everything is, people are doing a great job. I mean, I'm sure people are doing a great job, but I'm wondering, like, is this enough? But Donald Trump is saying, like, don't believe the fake media. The fake media just wants to taint his reputation and all this other stuff.
When will he understand that it is not about him? It's not about his reputation. It's about people being hungry, people being thirsty, people without homes, children getting sick, getting pneumonia, getting bad drinking water, and dying. It is not about your reputation. It's about human dignity. That makes me so angry.
I agree.
Like, enjoy your McMansion, Donald Trump, because there's people who could take that money and use it to survive right now. Mm-hmm. And instead you're over there bitching about fake news.
Yeah.
Like, he has the authority and the power to do something. Even with the amount of money that he has the ability to do something. Right. And that's what bothers me.
And I guess
I just got really angry.
At least one time he brought up that Puerto Rico is a financial burden on the United States, and
they are
they have
U.S.
a lot
territory.
of debt and all sorts of stuff.
They are part of us, and they're not a burden.
US
they're human beings.
Right. So there's that. But
isn't it interesting how in society we constantly say people that are financially stressing us out, or people that are in need, or people that have less than we do are a burden to us? They're not human beings that have a need. They are burdens to us.
Right.
So that really irks me. I can't even. I could probably go on a tangent for another 2 hours about this, but I won't.
It's okay. No, I mean, leadership is a big deal, and that's why we voted for mayor. I think local leadership is even a bigger impact on, like, I think national leadership is important, but it's a lot, it's very symbolic. Like, it's more symbolic than actual, like, effect. Like, how much
authority?
How much are you going to be affected by Donald Trump's presidency versus Barack Obama's presidency.
But
You're
I'm
not
not
being
even-
affected much.
I'm not
but
even-
I'm just comparing national leadership to local.
No, and I understand that, but I'm not even talking about him as a president. I'm talking about him as an influential human being who could influence the state of people's needs by his finances.
Yeah, that's true. And what he does and what he says too, even more.
Right.
So
Right. And then you have this whole thing in Las Vegas, which I find it really hard to believe that nobody saw signs that this guy was going to do something crazy.
Yeah.
You don't just have 10, I guess they were legal weapons, but they were assault rifles and things. No
Yeah, and
civilian
he-
needs an assault rifle.
Right. It's a semi-automatic assault rifle, and he modified it with this thing called a bumper.
It's a silencer type?
No, not a silencer.
Oh, so it shoots off automatically,
It's a bumper-
faster rounds, right?
Bumper stock. So it's this attachment you put on the back, and when you press the trigger, the rifle will kick, and it bounces back and
And
forth.
it just keeps shooting.
And it keeps shooting. It
It sprays.
simulates a fully automatic gun.
But see, that
So-
tells me that he had to have been buying this somewhere, talking to somebody about it,
He was
writing about
He was
it.
really interested in guns, obviously.
That should be a red flag to a bunch of people. And then now they're saying, well, there was some signs that he was going down a mentally unstable path. And it's well, no kidding. Really? I have to wonder, is it that we just don't know the signs or that we're just not paying attention? People are patterns. Having worked in social services with people, I can pretty much always say that people are patterns. What happened? Just like this pattern right now playing out. Luke hits Riley, Riley cries, Riley hits him back, now everybody's angry. People are patterns. Yes, their behavior will vary from time to time, but when it varies, there's usually something wrong. They're either dealing with some mental stuff, they're either dealing with some emotional stuff, something's off kilter, they're having a hard time. People behave in patterns, and that is why it is so hard when you have someone in the social services system as an adult to break them of that cycle. They are used to behaving in a pattern and behaving in such a way that it doesn't change, and it's very hard to change. So when somebody all of a sudden shows a huge interest in things like guns or war or, modifying weapons, that should tell you something about either mental decline or maybe there's some paranoia. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist, but I do know that much. So my thought is, are we just not paying attention? Are we just not checking in? Are we so consumed with media and what our idiot president is saying and Twitter and everything else that we are just not looking around us at other human beings to figure out what's really going on with them? I don't know. I will say that you would be surprised what people will actually genuinely tell you when you say something like, you don't look so well, is something going on? Or, you seem like you're off today, are you okay? It can be those little things, those little questions, those simple acknowledgments that can completely open the floodgates and get somebody to talk to you and really tell you what's going on and what's on their mind, to ask you for help. And I'm not speaking, I have a hard time explaining this, but I'm not speaking from a position of authority or a position of knowing everything. I don't. I can only tell you what I've observed. And that is that I have people that come into my office that are hurting, and when I ask them blatantly, you seem like you're having a really bad day. Is there something else going on? You would be surprised at the things people tell you. People are honest when you check in with them most of the time.
Yeah. I see that as a teacher. I talk to my kids, and if I just ask them a question, I'm like, hey, is everything going okay? They're like, yeah, mister, it's okay. I'm like, how's everything? Yeah.
So I feel like your students, if you ask somebody genuinely, how are you? Or how you doing today? And people, our automatic response is fine. But if you actually ask the question differently or you dig a little deeper, usually it's not fine.
Yeah, or if there's a couple questions in between, and I can read body language is pretty well. If they say fine and their face says no, nothing's fine. You get it.
Well, sometimes people too, they don't know how to tell you something's wrong. So they will literally say fine, but they really want you to say, are you sure? Because you don't look fine.
True.
You know what I mean? They want you to notice that they're not fine.
Right.
They're not going to say it, but they want you to notice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all this stuff is happening. Are you supposed to feel overwhelmed or like what? I'm sorry, I'm getting stuff away from my 1-year-old. Like, are you supposed to feel overwhelmed, like helpless, like what are you supposed to do, right? Because like as I was saying, like the average American doesn't know what to do, doesn't know what to think, right? And there's by the way, there's the thing with the NFL too, like the kneeling.
Yeah.
Which I can see both sides, right? I can see both sides.
Yeah, so can I.
It's good to honor the United States. It's good to honor the troops, you know what I mean? Like all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there's this thing that's happening in our country culturally, which I can't completely understand because I'm not black. You could say I am of a minority, but in New Mexico, I'm in a unique situation where I'm a minority, but I'm actually not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am actually.
You're not the minority here.
No, I'm not. I'm actually like. Sorry, I want to lean back.
Go for it. Lean back.
I can't hear you though, can you?
I said lean back.
Oh.
Lean back.
In New Mexico, I'm not the minority. I am. Is it the majority? Would be the opposite.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what's happening culturally with black people. I don't see firsthand, people being treated differently, but I don't think these people are lying. You know what I mean? I think that they think that, they are first-handed feeling injustice.
There has been a wound that has been, for more lack of a better analogy, it's like a scab that's been ripped open. It's always been there. Maybe it started to heal a tiny bit, but you've always had the visible evidence of a wound. I feel like it's been ripped open, and now people are trying to sort that out. They don't want to put another Band-Aid on it. They want it to heal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think in our history, we've put a lot of Band-Aids on a lot of things. And while that may have been a temporary solution for right now or for the time that it happened, now we need to figure out how we're going to heal rather than how we're going to just keep ripping open a wound over and over. And again, it goes back to that question of Americans become aware, they take small actions like kneeling or not kneeling, and then, and then they don't know what to do. So I think awareness is the first step. That's a really good thing, but you're right.
But how do you get somebody to feel empathy? Because if you're not black, you don't understand. You just see people that you perceive are disrespecting the flag, disrespecting the troops, which I don't feel like they're disrespecting the flag or troops. This is their stage.
Yeah.
This is their platform, and this is where they can get people's attention. And it is for sure getting people's attention.
Well, I also feel like they are reacting to the climate in the country as it stands right now. Does that make sense? They're not commenting or referencing on the troops or the fact that they don't love their country. I think that they're talking about the climate right now as it is right now. It's a current situation, and that is a current action.
Right.
And so for us to take total offense and say, oh, well, you're not American, you don't love it, that's not true. In fact, the thing that makes this country awesome is that you can do those things. You have a right to do those things.
And it's peaceful. They're not hurting anybody.
Right.
They're offending people.
Everybody's offended about everything all the time.
Yeah. And one of the terms for people who are liberal is snowflake, because they're so easily offended. But I think that everybody in every camp can be easily offended.
Well, yeah, you just say something they don't like, and I'm, instead of saying, I don't agree with that, but let's talk about it, I'm offended, because that shuts the conversation down.
Yeah.
And that justifies your anger.
Right. So I see both sides. I for sure see both sides, and I would like to try to understand more about what it would like to be black in the United States. New Mexico, again, is such a weird place because we don't have a big black population. And
we have limited exposure to those issues.
We're mostly Hispanic, and I am a part of that majority. Do you feel any different in New Mexico being white, or? Because the other majority, I guess, is white people. I think that's equal white and Hispanic here.
I think maybe when I moved here in high school, I might have felt that way just because it was a culture shock to me personally from where I came from.
Yeah,
but
Portland's 80 or 90% white, right?
Something like that. But now, no, I really don't. I've never felt real like discrimination here or racism here. And that's one thing I'm grateful for. Like I'm glad I live in a place where that's not something that is readily felt.
Right.
But it also makes me think, are we naive because we don't have that issue as heavily here? Yeah. And some people might shame me and say, well, it does exist here. And I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying that I have not been exposed to that part of it.
So one of the things with black men especially is that they feel like if they get pulled over, that, this could be it, right? Like I could get shot. Do you think, hang on, our son. What's up, buddy?
Can I have my cookies?
Bless you.
Bless you. Bless you.
Can I have my cookies since I ate all my dinner?
You may have your cookies after the podcast, sir. Okay?
Can I have two?
No, you may have one little bag of little cookies. Okay? All right.
So.
Can I put it on top of it?
No, we're not having marshmallows and cookies.
Okay.
Like,
Why don't you do me a favor and go jump with your sister so she doesn't fall off the thing?
Yeah, she probably needs
There
your
you
help.
go. She needs your help.
Big brother time.
You're a good big brother. Cool. So like, is that a real fear that black men have in the United States, is that if they get pulled over for whatever, broken taillight, that they have to be worried? Like, is there some sort of anxiety that cops have, especially white cops have, if they pull over a black guy, that they're going to be, that he might have a gun or whatever?
I think there's an unspoken anxiety in that situation, yeah.
And
because we've seen that played out over and over again. We have seen white cops overreact to people of color in these situations that should be routine. And it escalates quickly, and there's no thought behind it. It's just a trigger-happy situation. I think there's a tension that already resides in that situation.
Right.
And both sides are aware of it, and that just puts more pressure on.
Right. And I think that like the kneeling is a reaction to that, to like the shooting of all these black men by cops. That, and also like just, I know that in those situations too, a lot of those cops have been, is it acquitted the right word? Like they've been, like, they haven't been found guilty.
Like slap on the wrist?
Yeah, like not even that. It's just like not guilty. It was part of their duty, Yeah.
Well, and I think too, people might see that as a disadvantage. It's like, well, even if I was in the right as an African American man, it doesn't matter because you're a cop and you're going to have people backing you up to clear your paperwork.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but I think that that's probably kind of one of those assumptions that's made too.
Right.
And it's interesting because being a white woman, I was always taught growing up that the police are our friends. They're there to keep us safe. But I can imagine growing up as a male African American, you're probably taught something completely opposite from that.
Yeah.
Don't reach for your pockets. Yeah. Yes or no, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do get that.
I was listening to a podcast,
and that's a totally different viewpoint on the police.
Yeah. Who's the rapper? He's the Christian guy.
Lecrae?
Not Lecrae. He was on the King's Kaleidoscope record.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I can't remember his name. But he was talking to me about how he's teaching. He has a son. He's teaching about his son, like rules about like when he gets older, like how to handle being stopped by the cops. Like, could you imagine teaching Luke, like that, like cop etiquette, like I know,
like it's a life skill,
right?
Yeah.
So even as we're talking about this too, I kind of realize like I am most aware of my situation, right?
Of course, I think everybody is aware of their own situation the most. That would make sense.
It's hard to have empathy, to put yourself in the shoes of somebody else in another situation, right? And I feel like equality is the thing that needs to happen. You know what I mean? It's part of it's part of the United States. Like, all men are created equal. Like, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I'm kind of getting it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I need to get my Levi's woke jeans, I guess.
Stop it. That was so funny. I can't. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. If you haven't seen the SNL spoof from this last weekend, Ryan Gosling and the
My woke genes are gender non-conforming.
they go on everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, no. You should probably watch that immediately. That's your homework for tonight. It's pretty funny. But that's kind of like a commentary on how we are so offended by everything. Even our pants can be offensive. Like, it's a perfect illustration. It's just crazy. And, I have to go in kind of a different direction for a minute.
No, it's fine.
Okay, and I'm sorry.
You're fine. I'm done.
Okay. Oh, my gosh. I thought he was screeching for no reason. I want coffee. This weather makes me want coffee. That'd be great. My throat's kind of sore. So, last night we were at our small group for church. We go every Tuesday, and as per the usual, my kids were being little Satan-worshipping demons.
Whoa.
No, they were being out of control. Like, it was just not a good night for me as a parent. And I was brutally honest with some of the other women. Is that thunder?
I'm not sure.
Weird.
Anyway.
I was being brutally honest with some of the other women. I had it with my kids. I really, I was straight up honest, and I said, I hate being a parent. I love my kids, but I hate parenting. And I think that freaks some people out. And I'm sorry.
It freaks me out. I'm going to be honest. It freaks me out when you say
that.
that.
Why would it freak you out? The act of parenting, I do not like. And I'm talking about how, I'm not talking about my children. So separate our children and who they are. Because I love who they are and I love our kids, right? But the act of the actual, parenting that goes along with it, I feel like I am not made for that. It does not come naturally to me.
That's fine, but I feel uncomfortable when you say that. You can feel that way, and I can.
But I should just suppress it? Is that,
No,
because that's healthy. What I mean by the act of parenting is not loving and taking care of my kids. I don't think he is understanding what I mean. The act of parenting in that it's hard for me to be needed all of the time. I'm a very independent person, and I've always been a very independent person, and this is probably some of my own personal baggage, but when I was a kid, my brother had cancer, and I spent a lot of time in hospitals alone in the hospital playrooms, playing and entertaining myself. So I learned from a really young age that I can depend on me, but it is really hard for me to have other people need me. I like being wanted by other people, but I don't like being needed by other people. And that's ironic given my job, I guess. But with my kids, it's hard because I have a really difficult time being needed by them constantly. It annoys me to no end. I love them. I want to take care of them because they're my kids. I love them for who they are individually because I see things in them and it just brings a lot of joy to my heart and my day. But there are times where I am just I feel like I've been thrown into a blender with the top off and I am at my breaking point. And I just I'm trying to figure out how to reconcile that because I don't feel like I am a natural parent. I feel like parenting is really difficult for me. And it's one of those things that I do because I have a responsibility and because I love my children. But I feel like it's not what drives me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't to me because I don't deal with that. But I appreciate your honesty. And I feel like maybe other people can relate to you. I mean, not maybe. I'm sure other people can relate to you.
Well, I was talking to a friend of mine today on Marco Polo. And I'm not going to say who it was. But she was brutally honest and she said, I'm sorry I've been so MIA lately. I was getting to a really rough spot where I just wasn't taking care of myself, and I was starting to resent every single day being around my kids and my spouse, and I was starting to resent everything and everybody, and I was taking care of them, but it was grudgingly, and I really just hated my existence the way it is. And she said, so I have told my spouse that I am going to try to take more time for myself because I need that to be a better person. And I totally get that. And I was like, you know what? I'm glad that you're honest about that because it's really hard for somebody to say that out loud.
It is hard to be honest, period. You want to give your best face to everybody. And
Well, not me, but a lot of people do.
yeah, you freak people out.
I don't care.
No, I mean, that's fine.
Handle it.
Parenting is different for everybody, though. And it's again, one of those things that humans don't do naturally, and that's have empathy. How does that other person feel? Like, what is that? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
I try to have empathy for you because you're my wife, but, you know, the person you told that group, it's hard for them to have empathy for you because they're human.
Well, I don't need their empathy. It was nice to be acknowledged.
Did they acknowledge you?
Absolutely.
But they didn't understand you.
No, I think one of them did. There was somebody.
How many did you tell them?
Well, I was just talking. It was like 1 or 2 people.
Okay.
I guess I'm just wired differently. I just feel like an idiot for saying it out
No,
loud.
you're
but,
fine. No, you're fine. It's good. Like I said, it's good to be honest, especially, like I said, if somebody who might happen upon our podcast that feels the same way as you.
I know that makes me sound like a shitty person. I get that. It sounds selfish, but it's not. And if that's how people are perceiving it, I'm sorry. That's not what I mean. But, I have to be honest about that because it's something that I struggle with every single day. And it is something that I have to fight hard every single day. My job drives me, my work drives me, I get motivated, I feel ambitious, I feel like I have a lot to give to the world, and I do sometimes feel like being a parent just like inhibits me from doing those things. I know it won't always, I know it's a phase, I know that this is just a season in our life, but when it's right in front of you all the time, it's really hard sometimes.
Yeah. Well, that's where I want to come in, and because some things are easier for me than they are for you. Some things are easier for you than they are for me. So where I'm weak, you can kind of fill in those gaps. Where you're weak, I can fill in those gaps. We just have to admit that we're weak in those areas.
Well, I'm admitting that I'm weak as a parent.
Yeah. And I don't want to like reopen old wounds, but last night we had a little bit of a argument about that because when you were struggling with the kids, I said, "Hey, can I come in? Can I watch these kids? And I want you to go outside and be in discussion and spend time with adults while I spend time with the kids." And you didn't have it. I didn't understand that.
Because I don't want to feel that way about dealing with my kids. I don't want to feel no, but it's not. I don't want to feel like a failure. I don't want to feel like I can't stand being around my own children. I made this choice. I chose to have kids. That was my decision, and these are I don't want to say consequences, but these are the fruits of that.
Right.
So I feel like I don't have a right to be annoyed with my kids. I don't know.
It's okay. Well, it's a work in progress, and number one, the bottom line is that you do love your kids. You love all 3 of your kids. I know that for a fact. I love our kids too, and we're doing our best at raising them. But I don't know.
It's just hard. I think as and I know you won't understand this because you're not a woman, but as women, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be a good mom, a good wife, a good cleaner of houses, a good provider of food or whatever.
Well, roles are changing.
They are, but
you know what I mean? I cook.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, what?
Can I finish with that?
Go ahead.
Thank you. No, I just I don't think Pinterest helps at all.
Yeah, because it shows you like these most awesome things that like perfect people are producing, right?
Well, it's just like it makes you feel like no matter what you do, it's never going to be to the standard that it should be as a parent or a mom or a wife.
Isn't there wasn't there something on, I think it was like BuzzFeed or something, like it was like Pinterest projects, like what Pinterest makes it look like, and
Pinterest fails.
what it actually looks like.
Yeah, I really enjoy those actually. No, but I mean, there's so much, and sometimes I wonder. I'm like, how either the women that do all of that stuff and succeed at it are just very gifted and good at being good moms, and that's their gift in life. I don't know. That's certainly not me. But like, I'm like, how? I have no idea how a mom that works full time, that has 3 kids, can feed her kids, get them dressed in the morning. Oh my gosh.
That's why I voted for. Okay, our dogs are.
This is
are wrestling.
and this is what I'm talking about. Like I can't even have a thought to myself with like a dog around. Like, I can't even think. Like, Diego. My goodness.
So
Like, I feel like I am struggling to just keep my head above water every day in the mornings and stuff. I'm getting kids ready for school. I'm trying to drop them off here or there or figure out childcare and get to work on time and make sure I don't forget anything for Luke's school. Like, oh, is it our snack day? Do I need to pay something today? Do I have to sign a sheet of paper? Like, what else did I forget? Today I forgot his backpack. You know, there's always something. And I feel like I'm one person and I cannot keep up.
well, it's not just you though.
I understand that.
And I think that you are acting like it is just you. You are taking on the role of a single mom, and you are not a single mom.
I am in the morning when you're at work. It's not your fault you have to go to work early. I'm just saying, like, I have to haul all these kids around in the morning to get them where they need to go, and it's not easy. That's all I'm saying.
Right. I get it. It's hard, and it's a work in progress, and we're learning, right? We're learning how to figure these things out as we go. And I don't think we will figure things out completely, but I think what we can do is, you know, try to fill in the gaps where each other needs us. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I want to be able to fill those gaps in for you, and I want you to be able to fill in those gaps for me where I'm missing.
I just don't want to be resentful.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I realize that that's part selfishness and part just like me trying to be a better person at the same time, but
Yeah.
you know, like tonight I wanted to go to my hip hop dance class, but I was like, I probably shouldn't. Like, our kids probably need a normal night at home with both parents here, like doing business
Well,
as usual.
I'm glad you're here with me recording this podcast right now.
Yeah, no, and
I miss this. Like, we haven't done this in a while, and I miss this.
I'm grateful too. It's
So.
just one of those things where I feel like it's like the one thing that I look forward to, and I give that up.
No. Well, you shouldn't give it up all the time.
No.
I think you should go next week for sure.
I'm going to go next week.
Even though our situation has changed, well, with my car.
Yeah, life just never stops.
So, like 2 weeks ago, Lindsay's car decided to poop out on us, right? So basically, she was at work. She tried to start her car, didn't start. She got a jump from some coworkers, and as you were driving home, it was shifting really heavily, right?
Yeah, all of
So
this.
like really, really hard shifting. She has a newer Honda Pilot. It's not newer. It's like, I think it's like 5 years old.
I had to take the back roads because I was afraid I was just going to bomb her out on the highway.
So I'm thinking a couple things. I'm like, okay, the battery's out, but it's shifting hard. Oh crap, it's the transmission. So it basically dies at your parents' house, Lindsay's parents' house.
Yeah, I made it that far. Though,
made it that
good.
far. And we're like, okay, cool. We'll take it to the mechanic. They'll get it diagnosed. All of the warning lights were indicating like, oh, there's an engine problem. The check engine light was on. The drive light was blinking, and I looked in the manual, and if the drive light is blinking, that means there's a transmission issue. So I was like, crap, it's a transmission. Like, I was freaking out. But I took it to the mechanic, and turns out it was just an alternator. And Lindsay's car operates in a way that the transmission is completely controlled electronically, and if the alternator is not working, the transmission doesn't work. And it works weirdly because it's controlled by a computer that needs electricity. So we got the alternator replaced, we got the battery replaced. It was $700 that we did not have. My parents, Lindsay's parents, stepped in. We're super grateful that they did. And so we got that fixed. And now today, I started I'm teaching some kids after school, or actually a kid after school, and I'm making a little bit extra money for that, which is nice. But I'm done with school. I walk to my car, I turn the key, and it kind of cranks a little bit, and then it stops, like nothing. All the electronics are going kind of haywire. I drive like a 10-year-old, actually 12-year-old now, 12-year-old Toyota Corolla, so it's like super old. But it still had like the speedometer was like going haywire. The gas gauge like went halfway and stopped. The RPM meter went like halfway and stopped. I was like, what the heck is going on here? Luckily, Kevin, one of my coworkers, was there, And I was like, hey, Kevin, can you come give me a jump? And he came and he jumped my car. And I started my car. Warm-blooded. Is a wolf warm-blooded? It's warm-blooded.
That was random.
Yeah, he's learning about animals.
Oh.
But yeah, he jumped me and I started it again. And before he was about to leave, I turned the AC on. And as soon as I cranked the AC, I lost all power again. So I was like, crap! Don't tell me if it's another alternator. But I had him jump me again. Started it up, left it running for a little bit. Did not turn the AC on, and I left. And my car's a manual transmission, so I was... Anyway, I'm not going to stay here too long, but basically, I don't know what's going on with my car, but for sure, I'm going to have to start riding my bike to work again tomorrow, which is okay because I have a really nice bike. One, I have a really nice bike. I like to ride it. 2, I get exercise, which is cool because I need exercise. 3, I'm going to save money on gas. But cons are, picking up the kids is going to be interesting, but you look distraught.
I'm just thinking about the logistics of all that, and it stresses me out.
Yeah, it's going to be okay. I promise you. So
I like how some people have silly problems that I'm like, wow, that's a problem? It's not a problem.
Well, problems are all perspective. You know what I mean? Like, our problems are nothing compared to, like, think about somebody in Puerto Rico right now.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
And it kind of makes me think about I'm talking too much.
You're fine.
Today, we're starting our unit on cells with my biology kids. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's talk about how big or how small things are. And there's this website called The Scale of the Universe. It's
I've seen that.
really cool.
It is cool.
Riley's crying. He'll be okay. We'll wrap it up in a minute. But
What's wrong, buddy?
can you talk for a second? I'll comfort him.
I don't even know what happened just now. I feel like he cries every 5 minutes. He might be our crybaby. Then again, he's 2, so I think it's just sort of the age as well. But he's gonna go help Lorenzo get a beer. I don't know what that's about, but yeah. So anyway, I that's true. It is all perspective, and I'm probably just coming off like a total jerk tonight in this podcast. But I'm just having one of those really thoughtful days today. I need to try really hard to not compare our life to other people's. I feel like I've gotten a little better at that, but then again, it is hard sometimes when you're struggling with certain things, and then you have other people that present their quote unquote problems, and you're like, yeah, I would give anything to have that problem. That's not really a problem at all. I don't know. Anyway, it's a matter of perspective, and I probably need to get some more positive perspectives. So I know that's something I'm trying to work on, but yeah, I'm just trying to, well, here comes the airplane, the token airplane of the hour. I feel like we've gotten all the sound effects so far. We've gotten kids screaming and crying, yelling, dogs barking, ambulances, airplanes, sirens. I don't know. I think that pretty much covers it, really. We haven't had any clinking of glasses, but that could come later. I just need coffee. We've been supposed to have this crazy, like, thunder and lightning charade today, and all it's done has been really, really overcast. Like, it keeps looking like it's about to spill rain any minute, and then nothing.
Yeah.
But I like the clouds.
Me too. What was I talking about before I left?
Perspective.
Oh, yeah, perspective. So the scale. Yes, buddy.
Mommy did not ask for marshmallows.
I gave Riley a marshmallow, so I told him to give you one. Go tell him thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
But Mom said I can have a bag of cookies
Yeah.
when you get here.
Okay, go jump with Juliet for a few more minutes, and after the podcast, I'll give you and Riley a bag of cookies.
Hey, do you want to tell everybody on the podcast what kind of a day at school you had today?
A Thursday.
I don't know where. I don't know.
Understood all of that.
What's funny is before he speaks, I see him summoning the weird.
Yeah.
He's like-
Hold on. Get her ready. Well, no, but my friend's little girl in Missouri, she's like the same age more or less, and she's got an awesome streak of weirdness as well. So.
Is it? Is it the correct term eclectic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, we were talking about how we should probably just arrange the marriage between our kids because they're both super weird.
Yeah.
They'd probably get each other.
I'm sure they would.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the scale of the universe, and what was I relating that to? I can't even remember.
How I was explaining that I look at some people's problems and it's like,
Oh yeah.
you know, that doesn't
Yeah,
seem
so
like a problem
we have
to
these
me.
issues, but I'm super grateful for you and for our family and stuff.
Thanks.
We're
grateful
I think
for you
I think
too.
we'll get through. So, I wanted to do our segment. What are you listening to?
Mm-hmm.
But I also was thinking about like getting to know each other more. Like everybody knows I'm into technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 2 major technology events happened this last month and this month. One was the Apple event. They announced the Apple 10 or iPhone 10, iPhone 8, Apple Home. Was that announced on this one, or was that a while back? I'm not sure. I think it was this event. And then today there was the Google event. So the Pixel, the Googles. So the Google Pixel 2 came out, which is fantastic looking. And then the Google Pixel Book came out.
What does that even mean?
Oh my gosh, it's such an amazing
Don't explain
device.
it to me. I don't even want to know.
So
I know,
everybody
I don't wanna
knows like technology totally just makes me happy.
Yeah.
What is your thing anyway? Like
My-
technology, what is your technology? Like my technology is my technology. What is your technology?
I have no idea.
Vintage clothing?
No, because that doesn't come out. I mean, it's already out.
Mom,
Yeah.
I was wrapping in my school shoes.
Cool,
He
dude.
was wrapping in his school shoes.
That sounds tight, bro.
What is your technology?
I don't know. That's a good question. I do like
Art?
art. I do like history. Like I like researching art and antiques. Like vintage things. I like finding out the history of them. Like why they are what they are, how did they get to be that way, what makes them so valuable. On this vintage jacket, like what markings on it can help me figure out how old it is.
So you like the Antiques Roadshow?
Yeah, I do. Whoa. I also actually, believe it or not, really,
Like I am on a horse.
yeah,
You actually really like what?
traveling a lot.
Yeah, me too.
And meeting people from different countries. And then I really like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, I like things that are art forms. So not necessarily just visual art, but like, I used to love being a barista because I could make things with my hands, and I love making coffee. It has nothing to do with like the snobbery involved. I just really like the fact that you have to craft something a certain way to make it what it is. I think that's an art form.
Do you think you can get, so weird question. Do you think you can get into woodworking?
No.
Like making things with your hands, like as far as wood?
No. I could probably do restoration stuff.
Would you like to whittle
No. I'll
a
tell you why.
boat out of a bigger boat?
Do you see this scar on my finger? Fourth grade, I tried to cut open an orange. That's why.
Yeah, true. I wouldn't trust you with knives.
Probably good. Probably smart. No, but I like vintage things. I like antique things. I would love to go on an archaeological excavation, like in ancient Rome, and dig up like pottery and crap.
That'd be really cool.
Pottery and crap. That's how
Pottery
serious.
and like crap that's for sure legit.
Yeah, it's very scientific. No, I would love to do that. Today,
If it comes, is she spending the night for 2 days?
I'm not sure yet.
No, she actually is.
Oh, so you're asking me a question you already know the answer to.
Good job.
Genius. Go play because I think it's raining.
Yeah, we gotta talk about our interests before it starts to rain.
So our marriage doesn't fall apart.
Don't tell them that.
Fun fact, I like 90s sitcoms. Only a few.
Now that they're on Hulu.
Now that they're, no, I like them. Okay, you guys remember TGIF?
Yes.
I've been watching all of the episodes of Step by Step in my free time because I can watch them with the kids, and they're super cheesy, and they are exactly how I remember them. There's literally no depth to that show. Like, every character is really one-dimensional. They all have, like, one-liners throughout the show.
But it's good for your brain because you don't have to worry about like
I don't have to worry about
wondering
it.
or like thinking like
I know it's all
anything
gonna.
extra.
I know it's all gonna work out. It's not HBO. It's definitely not Game of Thrones.
You don't
that's
have.
for
You
sure.
don't have to infer. You don't have to speculate. You don't have to do anything.
There's no like running plot lines where I have loose ends that I need tied up or else I can't
Mm-hmm.
sleep at night. It's like, okay, Cody lives in a van. Ben lives in the backyard, and he gets his power from the kitchen. Everybody knows that. Problem solved. He eats the food out of their fridge. I don't have to worry about where he's getting his food from.
The dad is annoyed by him.
Ben was on the soil, and his kitten was on the ground, and he ate rocks and food.
Wow. Can you go jump with your sister for a few minutes?
5 minutes, dude, and then it's bath time.
Okay.
Yeah. Whoa, that was intense.
So
No, but I mean,
yeah.
and then you have like the girl who just makes the sarcastic, snide remarks like a teenager does.
Mm-hmm.
You have the ditz, you have the jock, you have the smart aleck, you have the nerd. I mean, everybody's got their little stereotype.
yeah.
And
That's all there was stereotypes.
well, they're just one-dimensional characters. There's no real need to have any resolution of their life or their stories because they're very shallow.
right.
But it brings a nostalgic joy to
It
my
does.
day when I hear
Didn't you
that
say
song.
they had Steve Urkel on
like
it?
the second episode ever
and like
made?
the whole time he was like knocking
Can I
stuff
do
over.
that? Like the whole time. It was literally like him knocking stuff over and saying his famous one-liner the entire episode.
Sitcoms don't exist anymore, do they? Or do they?
They do, but I don't think they're doing real well. Every like sitcom that I've seen that's been quote unquote new that's come out, with the exception of like Modern Family, has pretty much bombed.
Was Modern Family a sitcom? Because they didn't have like the canned laughter.
It was considered a sitcom, I think, because it dealt with families and blended families and family issues.
And homosexuality.
Right. Well, I mean, whatever. But like, no.
The redheaded guy is from Albuquerque, by
I
the way.
know, and I love him. And then you have like, what's that one with Brick and Axel and Sue?
Brick Tamlin?
No,
Brick and Axel. Oh, yeah. Malcolm in the Middle?
no, The Middle.
Middle.
It's just called The Middle. I love that show. And then you had like that 70s show. So I guess, yeah, like some kind of like sitcoms more or less are around. I just think that the 90s style of
do you know the
is
sitcom?
gone.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
dead.
Do you know, and Full House and Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, they have that one on there too.
Is there? I love that show.
And then they have Family Matters.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
They do. Oh my god.
Do they have Home Improvement? Because I
I'm
love
sure
that
they
one.
do. I'm sure I haven't looked.
What was the one that I was thinking of? Oh, modern day sitcom would be the one with the geeks. What are they called? They're like really geeky people.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. People are gonna be so
It's on
mad that we
CBS,
don't
and
know
we don't
this.
watch that at all.
But yeah, it's you guys know. Oh my gosh, we don't watch it. So what is it called? But yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Is it something about your mother? How I Met Your Mother?
No, it's not How I Met Your Mother, although that one is popular too. It is Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory.
Jeez,
There it is.
How do I know that? No, I feel like things like are so complicated now. You have like Breaking Bad, where it's like intense plot lines, and you're like, that
We
is not-
hated Breaking Bad when it first came out, and we're from Albuquerque. We hated it, right?
Yeah.
Because we could not. There was not a character, so I think we might have been conditioned a little bit to like need a character that is lovable.
But I think
And-
that's what 90s sitcoms did to us.
Yeah, they ruined us.
They made us
And then
think that everybody is funny and lovable. They're not.
And then Breaking Bad came out, and there's these deep characters with these like
Deep troubles?
deep troubles and amazing plots and like amazing scripts and like, but nobody is likable.
And like fronting like they're
you-
selling
you're like,
chicken.
Like,
really
well,
they're
who's the
making
good
meth.
guy here? There's no good guys. I need a good guy to like attach to, but there was no good guy
But
in
they
Breaking
were all
Bad.
so human, and I think that that's the element of 90s sitcoms that was totally lost.
Yeah.
It was like nobody's human, everybody's a superficial robot. Now cue the canned laughter.
Yeah.
Like
You know what's cool though is Breaking Bad is probably the best TV show ever, like hands down. There's not even a contest, I don't think, because Walking Dead, I think the first 2-3 seasons was amazing, but it's like, okay, cool. There's zombies, like there's bad people. Like what's gonna happen?
people are just getting worse.
Yeah,
when is everyone gonna die?
end the series or like move out of the east. Like maybe find a way to like maybe there's an abandoned ship. Let's go on the sea and go to Europe or something. Or Schneizers. There's a
Schneizers.
I was gonna say the other word, but
Oh, Schneizers.
maybe there's like an old locomotive here. Like let's go to California or something. But they've been in like the southeast United States forever, and it's the same thing over and over. I'm like, yes, bad people are around. Yes. Zombies are around. Yes, we get it. And that was good for the first 3 seasons.
If zombies eat people, wouldn't that imply that they need food to live?
It doesn't make sense scientifically.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Wouldn't the zombies eventually just starve to death if they weren't eating people, or they had already potentially eaten all of the people? Why are they eating?
I'm sure
They're undead. They don't need to eat.
I'm sure somebody has an explanation.
Please, if you do, would you email us? I really need to know this.
But as a biology teacher, I can tell you that there are... Yeah, so everything needs energy to live if it's alive.
Zombies are just
right?
walking paradoxes. It makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah. But maybe they're detritivores?
What does that even mean?
They detritus? It's like decomposing matter?
No, because they attack people.
Yeah.
Live people.
That's true.
Rip Glenn. Just saying. Like, gosh, I miss
Homie.
him. I miss him so
My
much.
homie.
He was the whole reason, and now he's gone, and he's been gone for a long time, and I can't get over it. And that's when I stopped watching. No joke. Like,
They're trying to make the bad guys more bad too. Like this current bad guy. Like I remember feeling like sick to my stomach when they had the bat that was full of all the nails, and I'm like, oh gosh. Like now we're just getting into the gore because it's making it gory.
Like it's like cheap.
Yeah, he's not psychologically. He's not like mentally bad. Like you know what I mean. Like he doesn't make you
I'd say
feel
he's mentally bad.
I mean, it doesn't make you feel bad. Like he's he's like unpredictable, but you don't know what he's going to do. He already did the things that he like. You know what I mean? Like,
that you expected him to do, being
he's
the
just
type
bad.
of person he is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
So that's as far as we've gotten in The Walking Dead.
But
I think people really just watch it to see who's going to die next in the main cast of characters.
Yeah.
Which is a
I
bummer.
just wish they would move somewhere else.
I just wish they would move.
And that's why I kind of like Fear the Walking Dead, because it's in California and Mexico, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I like this. This is where I wish. I hope that their plot lines intersect.
I actually heard through the grapevine that they are getting really good, and reviews for Fear the Walking Dead are actually getting a little bit better than The Walking Dead, and they have a solid plot line.
Yeah.
And we need to catch up because that's on. I think it's coming up.
We should catch up.
But yeah. So anyway.
So.
And this has been Zombie Talk.
Yeah,
So
and well, before we go to what I'm listening to, just
Yeah.
really quickly, I just wanted to reiterate, I think that Breaking Bad is the best TV show ever.
I love The Wonder Years.
I hated The Wonder Years so much.
Shut your
I didn't
dirty
like
mouth.
the narration. I'm like, well, why is
Because he's looking back on his life nostalgically.
I don't like that.
You're going to do the same thing someday.
And don't you know Marilyn Manson was his friend, and Marilyn Manson
that
was
is
a
a
devil worshiper?
That is a rumor. His name is like Paul Sorviano. He's an average dude. He's a lawyer now, I
He
think.
looks exactly like Marilyn Manson.
No,
he
does
just needs a blue contact.
Would you stop it?
So
Anyway, so what are you listening to?
So today I
they're
started
playing
listening to John Mark McMillan again, because I found out that they are coming to Albuquerque with King's Kaleidoscope. We missed a King's Kaleidoscope concert.
Are they really coming with King's Kaleidoscope?
Yes,
Weird.
in the same place. And guess what? The ticket is $5 cheaper.
I feel like somebody might have listened to our podcast and been like,
They
all
probably
right.
did. Everybody listens to our podcast. You didn't know that?
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody. So
Everybody who's anybody.
I've been listening to Mercury and Lightning from John Mark McMillan as of today.
As of today.
The huge, really.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm looking at my heavy rotation on my Apple Music.
Oh, yeah.
It's I Quit Church by Matt and Toby, which is really good. Relaxer from Alt J. Mothership from Dance Gavin Dance, which is a really cool, like, good guitar riffs. It reminds me a little bit of like At the Drive-In, sort of.
Yeah, I remember listening to that the other day.
Arcade Fire, Everything Now. So those are my heavy rotation, but I'm starting to like sway away from my heavy rotation. And I started listening to the Thrice To Be Everywhere Is To Be Nowhere album again. I started to listen to that again, and I started to bring back Pedro the Lion. Pedro the Lion. The one I'm listening to is It's Hard to Find a Friend, because I missed out on Pedro the Lion back in the day.
Did
but
you?
I did. Well, I didn't. I had Pedro the Lion, but I didn't get into them too much. But I'm realizing, so I'm a big MXPX fan, and MXPX has a side project called Arthur, And now that I'm listening to more Pedro the Lion, I'm realizing that Arthur is a lot like Pedro the Lion. And I don't know who copied who, but Arthur came out in 1998, I think. And Pedro the Lion, I think, was earlier. So maybe, I don't know. But I also started listening to Beirut, Devotchka, and Iron and Wine. Just out of nowhere.
I like
just out of nowhere.
Devotchka a lot.
So anyway, that's what I've been listening to.
Cool. Well, I started listening to Lizzo, per your suggestion, which is great. It's definitely not for the faint of ears. It has some hip hop nuances, if you know what I mean.
Explicit, not for your virgin ears.
Yeah, I know. There's definitely some not good language in there, but it's hip hop, so handle it. I've been listening to Black Kids. They have a new album out. It's called Rookie. I don't know if you've heard any of their old stuff. I personally like their old stuff better, but Black Kids is a pretty decent band. I have been listening to a lot of the Marleys, like all the Marleys.
Well, we saw was it Jay-Z?
Yeah. So I've been listening to Damien, Steven, Kimani, all those Marleys. And then, oh man, where's the other thing I've been listening to? Where did it go? I feel like I've been listening to Meghan Trainor, which is bizarre to me. I have no idea why. And Macklemore, just because that's my boy. Pacific Northwest white boy, who's actually going to be here on the 10th, which I kind of wanted to go see, but we probably won't be able to. But yeah, I've been listening to him a little bit. And then I've been throwing some Lady Gaga in there for my hip-hop dance class. And then I kind of went backwards too, like random bands that I sort of didn't listen to when they were at their peak. I've been listening to Kings of Leon like quite a bit.
Seriously?
Yeah, which is... They've always been like on my radar, but I've never been like, yeah, I should really take the time to listen to them. So I've been listening to them a lot more lately.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, there's always some Taylor Swift
some
in there.
T-Swift.
And then Rancid. I like old Rancid just because I like old
We're
Rancid.
listening to Flogging Molly.
Maybe.
Interesting.
Oh, you weren't expecting that?
Not really.
Well, I do like me some Flogging Molly from time to time.
Good. Yeah.
I mean, I am Irish, so it's probably in my blood. I like beer.
Are you proud of your Irishness?
I don't know enough about it to really be proud. There were some Irish people behind me on the
Are you proud of
plane.
your whiteness?
Yes, because I'm a super racist and everyone's going to hate me.
You can't be racist. You're just proud of your whiteness. You can
My gosh. Okay, side note before we wrap up. I was going through donations at my work today. There was literally a red shirt in there, vintage red shirt. It said Rebel with the flag underneath it.
With the Confederate
Stars and
battle
bars
flag.
all the way. And I was like, I looked at my coworker and I was like, I don't even know what to do with this. Can I burn it? And she was like,
she's like, no, I'm going to use it. I'm going to wear it.
No, and I was like, this is going in the trash. And I chucked it in the trash can.
What'd she say?
She's like, no, fine by me. And I was like, good, because we're not racist here.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was an ugly shirt and it made me mad.
Good.
Did you hear the rain?
Yeah. Let's pause for a few seconds for some rain. How you like those apples?
Or raindrops.
Anyways, it's been
real, and it's been fun, and it's been real fun.
It's been real fun and real fun. And we are going to take our kids and we're going to bathe them. We are going to watch a movie, probably a really good one, maybe Wonder Woman or something else. Lindsay's nodding yes to something else. And we're going to enjoy our evening and our life, and I'm riding my bike tomorrow. Send a prayer out to me because Albuquerque drivers are nuts. But
that's really coming down.
Yeah, that's all for now. We're gonna go inside, and you guys have a great week. Hopefully we'll talk to you really soon. Lindsay's like, wrap it up. All right, guys, you have a good night.